So what's up, everybody? This is your guy, Captain Prophet Wolf from Once Okay Philly chapter. And as you can see here, I have the legend, the greatest sniper of all time.
I don't know about that. I'm definitely up there. Like, no, number 2 maybe.
Number 2. What? I'm gonna say number 1, man. He's number
I'm
1.
pretty good. I'm pretty good. It comes with just training, right?
Yeah.
But I appreciate the comment.
And I've been watching this guy since 2018. About 2019. I've been watching this guy. This is before COVID started. I got the paintball, but this guy is dope, man. But you know what? Today's topic is Magfed player versus the world.
And that's quite a broad topic, right? That's quite a broad topic.
Yeah. But you know what? The reason why this topic is out there is because a lot of Magfed players experienced so much in the last 3 or 4 years. I feel like. And it's been going on for generations, but I feel like we got hit even harder the last 3 or 4 years.
What, with COVID, or just what do you mean by that?
COVID, and also, people mentality, just seeing Magfed players go down and say that Magfed is dead. I've heard that multiple times the last 3 or 4 years.
Oh, I mean, the thing is, you've got a lot of angles there, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think it's necessarily to do with Magfed in general, but COVID certainly didn't help. Also, economy, it's not a cheap sport.
Yeah.
It's just not. So, and then also, if you throw in there, because I did a lot of analysis on this, and I noticed there was a pattern, and forgive me, I can't remember the year, but we did a survey in the UK of players coming not just into Magfed but just into paintball.
Yeah.
How many players were kind of like roughly getting into the sport, and I think it was around 2007. There was a dip. There was a dip in paintball. All the local paintball sites felt it, and I was like, that's really interesting. That is.
Yeah.
And I also remember that was the same year Call of Duty 4 came out, Modern Warfare, the first Modern Warfare. And in my head, and it was like that revolutionized multiplayer games online. And I couldn't help thinking at the time that was quite convenient. And I didn't think it was a coincidence, the fact that one of the biggest games ever to come out in the Call of Duty franchise came out the same year that everyone in the UK, whether it was globally, I didn't do that much kind of like analysis on that, but I thought that was very interesting that paintball seemingly dipped just as one of the biggest franchised games ever kind of like was launched. But Magfed in general, like in paintball, because I've been playing for like 17 years now, so it's a long time.
Wow.
And it's kind of come back around. But Magfed kind of came up. We had this huge surge, and I think it was because it was something new, and people wanted to be involved. And then we got that lull. We got a dip. It plateaued, and I mean, I've spent the last 4 or 5 years trying to work out why. There's lots of particular reasons why. I don't think any of them are more strong than the others, really. I don't want to throw the airsoft term in there, but it's certainly, especially in the UK. We got maybe about 5 years ago. No, I should know, maybe longer than that. Maybe about 6, 7 years ago, we had a Magfed walk on, and I remember it because one of the things I used to do when the photographer's there, listen, pushing it. Let's always make sure you get a picture of everybody there. Big group picture of all the Magfeds, you post it up, and that way players who are like, I call them sheep. I don't mean that disrespectfully, but I mean they would only go to a game if loads of people are there. They'll never be the trendsetter. They'll always be the trend followers. So it's kind of like you have to kind of show them that this is popular. Look at this. There's loads of people there, and then they're like, okay, yeah, let's go because it's actually busy.
Yeah.
And every year I get a Facebook memory of it. And I look at it and it's that team has gone to airsoft. That team doesn't play anymore. That team's airsoft, 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 airsoft. Doesn't play anymore. Don't know. And like there's like a maybe out of like, and I remember there was about 100 players on this Magfed walk-on, which is unheard of now. I don't know how it is in the States, but we don't get Magfed walk-ons over here that are like 100 players anymore. We used to, but not anymore.
Right.
Maybe it's a handful, like 3 or 4 people that actually still play Magfed. And I can't even put my hand up and say that's me anymore because I haven't shot a paintball in over a year. But you know, we can speculate all we want. You know, there's a lot of different factors in there, but I don't think necessarily it's dead. People are still playing. I just don't think it's as accessible as other sports and other hobbies. I think that's probably the most politically correct or most nicest way of saying it anyway, if I can say that.
So do you think that the motive of a Magfed player is just done with? You know, they moved on. They say, you know what, we had our run here, we did our thing here. Let's go to airsoft. Airsoft is the new big thing, the new big world order.
This is a paintball podcast. So I don't want to bag on paintball here. Potentially, but there's always going to be people, right? So there's a lot of things that paintball has going against it, and some people like it, some people don't. The older generation, I think, will always stick with Magfed. So what we notice in the UK, for example, is the average age for airsoft is a lot younger. Now, when you look at the Magfed games, they're generally a lot older. So you got to ask yourself, why is that? Is that because the generations are just different? So those players, those younger players, so one, they don't have the money, and two, what's the most popular thing that kids like doing now? Playing computer games. So there's 2 huge factors there, and you know, trying to get kids to actually go out and start a hobby, you know, it's expensive.
Yeah,
Paintball is expensive. Airsoft is cheaper.
that's true.
So that is difficult. Here's the other thing, and this will be controversial. I will say that I'm not going to go into brands, but I'd probably say 90% of all Magfed gear is not pull out the box and play. It's just not. I cannot even count how many times in paintball I've handed a new player gear and it's broke. They can't do it. It doesn't work. You know, and it's annoying and it's breaking paint and it's already tainted the experience, right? I will name one which I do think has changed. Well, two things actually. One, First Strike changed it for the better.
Yeah.
2, the EMF 100, because that's probably not that the other paintball. Now, I'm not an EMF fan, but I appreciate a marker that can be took out the box, air screwed in, and it works better than anything else. It doesn't matter how it looks, it works. Now, if you get a new player and you hand them a gun and it doesn't work, what are they going to do? You know, what can they do? It's annoying, right? So I do think that Magfed has had that going against it, because you see it all the time, even with the seasoned paintballers, even with the seasoned ones, right? It's they spend a lot of time teching because they have to. They have to tech, because if they don't, their gun won't work. Now that's a hard sell for a paintballer who's just coming into the sport, and you know, these shops are trying to sell them £500-600 worth of you know, of gear.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I noticed a comment, just someone said my EMF didn't work out the box, but I think that must be a very, very small minority of people that happens. Generally speaking, the EMF is probably the best paintball mic you can buy for the money right now.
Speaking of EMF, I actually have 2 of those. I bought my first one in 2020 and my second one in 2021. Now, my first EMF, and I'm just going to just speak small briefly about this one. The EMF, one thing about the EMF, it depends where you get it from. You know, I always tell people to get your EMF from either Planet Eclipse or from a good brand known store like MCS, Modern Combat Sports. You know,
Yeah.
they have some pretty good thing. Only because when you get it from there, if something goes wrong, you can always take it back. You can always
Yeah.
say, "Hey, something's wrong with this. You know, I need this fixed." Ship it back to them, and they will fix that. But when I got mine from MCS, oh man, you have the box. I got like over 37 kills with that in one weekend.
Yeah.
You know, and not just bragging about it, but it's you have to do your research first on it. I
That
always tell
can
people
make
do
the
your research
difference.
first.
When that happens, it makes
Yeah,
the difference
do your
between a
research.
player
Nightmare.
staying with the sport.
Yeah,
Yeah, it makes a difference between players staying in the sport and them not. You
yeah,
know, the first experience, if you buy a car and it breaks on the first day, you're not happy, right? You're like, well, this sucks, you know.
yeah,
You don't expect that. And again, it's very, very difficult. Um, and it's not just and rentals as well. I see this all the time. It makes my soul die. So a lot of sites do rental Magfed, right? It's taken me years to get a system that works. The mags are generally bigger than normal mags, for like I want to say real steel mags, right? So the setups are just different.
yeah,
So it's like I see them all the time with the rentals. They give them the gun, but they don't give them anything for their stuff. They might give them, like a rig or something like that, but it doesn't hold the mags properly, or it just doesn't work. And again, it taints the experience. It becomes tainted because they're not enjoying it. It's awkward. It's not working. The mags are flying out the pockets. They can't get the mags out. Whatever it might be.
yeah.
So again, it's just something that is contributes towards a new player going, this is awkward. This is annoying. Now, I hear all the time players going, we need to get more airsofters into paintball. I can't see that happening because everything's all there for airsoft already. You get players going from paintball to airsoft, but very rare you see it going the other way around because we don't have that hop up. That hop up is addictive, because all of a sudden you don't have to aim for the moon to get that guy at 40 meters. You can aim it straight. So that's difficult to overcome that. But that is just the reality of paintball. It's some people will like it, some people won't. But yeah, having a correct rig that works. Dump pouches. A lot of people don't give dump pouches to rental players. I don't know about you, but I couldn't live without a dump pouch. I don't want to be fumbling a mag back into its pouch when I'm under fire. I want to swap the mag, get rid of the mag, straight back in there, And it's
Yeah.
a lot of that stuff can really, really contribute towards, a player having a good time and going, actually, you know what, I want to invest the money in this. And again, I'm not going to name shops because it is, a bit naughty and stuff, but there's obviously a blatant. Players know the markers. I keep saying guns, markers, whatever you want to call them. The ones that are popular, the ones that are not. Now, when a new player goes to a shop, because you mentioned, you should go to a shop. If they've got a choice of selling a new player a brand new popular EMF 100, right? They've never heard of it, right? They've come to the shop and they've gone, I want to buy a Magfed marker.
Mm.
Are they going to promote that gun? Or are they going to promote the lemon that they can't sell? They're going to promote the lemon that they can't sell because the EMFs, they're going to go out the door. But the other ones that they can't, they're just sitting there. And then that becomes a problem. And I've seen it time and time again where
Yeah.
someone's got out the box and it hasn't worked. And in my head, I'm crying because why the hell did they sell you that? What did you ask them? And I asked them what the best Magfed gun was. And they sold you that. And it's like, and the guy left, he sold his gun, he went to airsoft. So it's annoying, It's just like sometimes I wish there was a bit more transparency involved, but that's a bit of politics that maybe we shouldn't get into too much. But going back to what your original statement about Magfed is dying, dead, downhill. Whatever you want to call it. I don't think it's necessary. You're always going to have some hardcore players that will always love to play. But I don't think you could brand that down to one answer to the reasons why potentially it is decreasing in size.
Yeah.
I know in the UK, so in the UK, it's starting to increase. It plateaued Well, we were rocking 300 player big games at the time. And then it went down to like 130. We were like struggling to even get 130, but it's going up now. It is going up. But you see, we're finding a lot of players just took like a 2-year break. Teams disbanded, players got kids, couldn't come out for a while. So it's always going to come full circle, and I do think that it will improve. But I think the original surge of Magfed, it was new, it was fresh, it was something new for players to, that wasn't just spray and pray everywhere. Like, actually, I really want to get involved with that. Players bought into it, and then after a while, life happens. COVID hit. Maybe they haven't played for a while, and then there was 2 years out for COVID. They haven't played for 3 years. Then the players become lazy. I became lazy. It just happens. I don't think it's necessarily dead. I just think it's sleeping right now, and hopefully it will come back. But I guess that's the best way I could probably describe it.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's different. I don't know how you guys experience that type of your type of games in the States compared to the UK.
Yeah.
So in the UK, I think it's on a slow increase now. But yet the obvious thing that I notice is that the average age of Magfed in the UK is generally, I'd probably say it's between 30 and 40, whereas the average age for Airsoft is probably from 16 to 25.
Yeah.
So if we're looking at new people coming into the sports, I'd say that more people tend to join Airsoft than they do paintball. For reasons, I don't know, maybe it is some of the reasons. Maybe Airsoft is more accessible. Maybe it's promoted more. Maybe, and you can dive that into sites as well. So after YouTube, I bought a paintball Airsoft site, right? So that's kind of where I spend a lot of my time, and we run Airsoft there. And it's really good. And every Sunday we rock about 100 players, right? And we get Magfedders or paintballers. I was calling them paintballers because they are paintballers. And they go, we'd love to run a game on a Sunday. Why can't we run a game on a Sunday? Because we've relegated Magfed now to just Saturdays. We don't run games on, and it's usually only small games, right? And I say the same thing. As a business, unless you can guarantee me 100 players, why am I going to cancel my guaranteed 100 airsofters for a 20-player paintball game? I get it. I'm a paintballer. I'm not an airsofter. I'm a paintballer. But still, as a business, they're always going to bias towards whatever there's going to, if it's Nerf and they get in 200 people, whatever it is, they're always going to bias where the money is. And where the money is airsoft for them. So that is always going to be a challenge. So I don't know. There you go. I fired that out to you. What do you think? What do you think of my my reasons? My opinions on that.
Well, I want to start by saying this. I know Airsoft is a popular sport. Let's just be clear about that. They do have a lot of great things, a lot of greater things than Magfed. Not saying Magfed can do the same thing, but Airsoft, they're starting to have choppers. They're starting to have planes. You can start playing in planes now. They got hospitals. They got big buildings that you have never seen before where you can go in that and start playing. So there's a lot of things that Airsoft will bring to the table, and I see why people, are investing more in the Airsoft, which does make sense. If you just sit back and look at that. But I think as a paintballer, and I've been in the Magfed community for over 5 years now, going on 6. And I have seen, people that I have ran with since then go to Airsoft. I have seen great guys who are some of the best players that I have seen open my eyes, left paintball and go to Airsoft.
Yeah.
And the reason why is because, like you said earlier, first strikes, they're also going up. But not only that, you got guys that cheats, and it happens. People do cheat. You got guys that get shot 2 or 3 times. Like I can tell you right now, I remember playing my time where I shot a guy 4 times in his head with first strike, and he would not get out.
You see. All right, I'll let you finish, and then I'm going to counter with something here. So carry on. I'll let you finish your statement, and then I'll counter with this.
But the point is that if I got to shoot somebody 3 or 4 times to get out, and they don't get out, and they keep pushing, and then they tell all their guys, "Hey, he's over here, he's over here," and 10 more guys come towards you. It gets annoying after a while. It makes you feel like you're doing your job, but you're not doing your job. It's like you're trying to figure out why. But an airsofter, I'm just going to say this and leave it as that, and you go from there. An airsofter, not saying that they don't cheat either, because I have seen
they
videos.
fucking do. I can swear, right?
Airsoft, they cheat. Okay, all means. But they cheat too. Like, I seen a guy, he got shot at least like 7 times, and he stood there the whole entire time in the same spot. I'm like, dude, he's sniping you. Like, come on. Like, you're getting shot for a reason. Just go. And the fact is that he told all his guys in the airsoft, "Oh, the sniper is right there. Get him." And then he just got out. Like, come on. It's embarrassing.
So there's a lot to encapsulate here. So the first thing, never fucking believe anything you watch on YouTube. For one.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Because all right, let me try and work out how far I can push this without getting fucking lynched. It's a well-known fact that YouTubers fake their content. They do. They just do. Any fucking YouTuber that says they don't fake their content is lying through their teeth. I've faked my content before, right? I have. It's just the way it is. It's tweaking editing. If you put a raw paintball video on YouTube, you're going to get nowhere. Nowhere. You got to add that little spice because it's just the way it is. Now, some people take it.
When you say they fake their YouTube content, how is that? Is it the shots? Like,
100%.
Are they editing the shots?
Do you think I've hit every fucking shot I've had first time? I go on my video and every single shot's a headshot first shot. I'm like, yeah. Every time, mate. I don't even have to worry. Nah. Now, don't get me wrong. Have I saw someone at like 70 meters and gone right, calculated, popped a shot, and it's hit him in his head? Hell yeah, I have. Did I mean to do it? Hell no. That was so much luck involved.
Yeah.
Unbelievable, right? Because there's no way that you can pinpoint exactly where your round is going to go. You're going to aim in that direction. If it's going to clip their head, am I going to go, yeah, that was a lucky shot? Or I'm going to go, yeah, I meant to do that. It's because I'm so good.
But some of your shots, okay, for example, a shot that I remember, like it was yesterday. I remember it was a dude behind a brick wall. And you know this. He's behind a brick wall. You shot the brick wall.
And the guy went out.
You remember that. I was like, hold up. Was that the first shot or a second or third shot?
I scared that dude into surrender. That's why that me went, oh shit, that's the Hedgehog. I'm just gonna go out anyway.
Yeah.
I don't even shoot them anymore. No, but what I mean about faking is that obviously I do think there's some bit the hit markers, for example, it does my head in. And it's I will say that it's not so apparent in paintball purely because we don't have the rounds to put down. But in airsoft, it 100% is. I see people sitting there, they're spraying their airsoft guns and they're putting 50 million hit markers on there. And I'm like, but dude, you ain't even hit the guy yet. Like, how can you do it? But people will put those hit markers on, brand the video, and I'm a sucker for this. I fucking hate cheater videos. I fucking hate cheater videos because I think it's a cheap. Now, forgive me if anyone in the chat is doing this, but I think it's a cheap, nasty way of trying to grow something positive, right? So when I see it, it grinds my gears because I'm just like, it's blatantly doing it just to get views, right? So that's what I mean about people faking their content. So when you see that sniper who's hitting that guy, there's two things now. One, is he even hitting him? Two, they probably even know each other. And he's going, mate, can you just stand there? I'm going to hit you a couple of times. Wow. There you go. You transfer that into a short. You probably look this guy. And you'll notice as well, right, that these videos where he's got hit this guy 20 times, he's always wearing a full balaclava, covering his face. You can only see his eyes. Why is that? It's because he doesn't want to know. He doesn't want to be recognized. He doesn't want to be someone in the video to go, oh, I know who that is, right? So you always find that it's probably know each other. And they've gone, yeah. Just stand there. I'm going to record it. There you go. Boom. We've seen it. It's been proven. Like the guy watched someone do it and they exposed them, and they ended up being absolutely massive on YouTube. They've got like 500,000-600,000 followers now. But it all started on viral videos of him just faking his fake cheating videos. Anyway,
That's
so
crazy.
you've got that aspect of it, right? So never ever fucking believe anything you see on YouTube because you never know whether it's true or not. So that's difficult. That's difficult to know. So it puts a bad taste into people's mouths. But here's the other thing, right? Going on about what you said about it's demoralizing, when you hit someone 2-3 times. I'm going to ask you a question, right? So did you start with Magfed?
I did.
Okay. So you might not be able to answer this one, but let's say, imagine yourself that you played like 15 years ago, right?
Yeah.
So do you know about sort of like the markers were around back then? Titman A5s,
Yeah.
Titman 98s, and all that sort of stuff. So non-Magfed guns, speedball, all that sort of stuff. So back when there's a lot of the irons and all that shit. So that was just how paintball was, right? Tac caps, speedball, 1,000 rounds in your pocket, and then Magfed came along. Would you class that as an evolution of paintball? Paintball evolved. Would you consider that?
I could say yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right. If paintball evolved, why haven't the rules evolved?
Mm.
Okay, so I'll give you an example, right? I'll give you an example. Mags are hard on paint, right? They're always under pressure. It's not like a hopper where it's just gravity fed, right? There's no pressure on them. They're just laying on top of each other. But with a mag has a spring, right?
Yeah.
Hard spring. It's always under pressure. As soon as you pop it in your marker, your paint is under pressure. Now, let's say you don't shoot anyone for 20, 30 minutes. You're busy, you're crawling around in the bush and stuff. What do you think's happening to your paint with all that pressure in your mag, right? It's slowly but surely deshaping it. It's putting little flat spots front and back. So by the time you actually go to shoot anyone, it's going to be going everywhere anyway. So to combat that, paintball manufacturers they started creating. I don't know what brands use it. Do you ever heard of graffiti?
Yeah, graffiti. Yeah.
So graffiti was a harder shell. So what they used to do is that we found that winter paint works a lot better for Magfed because it's like double shell. It's a lot tougher because you have to in winter. But the winter shell, the harder shell, works for Magfed better because it doesn't warp your paintballs as much. Now the trade-off for that, so it'll work better in your gun, which is great. But the trade-off for that, you get more bounces. Now, in the States, bounces don't count. In the UK and Europe, bounces count. The rules evolved. So we don't get that problem that you've just had there because I've had this. I tell you what, it frustrated the hell out of me. I went to the States. I was playing a game. I was shooting first strike, and I didn't understand it. I went around the flag. It took me about 40 minutes of just skull dragging across just to get to this one position. This guy had no fucking clue where I was, right? Popped in my scope, had a look, popped him, hit him straight in the back. Now, in the UK and Europe, the first thing people do is put the hand up because it's a hit. Whether it's broken or not is irrelevant. When it was there, the first thing the guy did first was go into cover. I hit him dead to rights, right?
Yeah.
So the first thing that he did was go into cover. Then he's checking himself or calling a Martian over. Now he's turning around and looking at me where the shot came from. So I've just spent 40 minutes. I've outplayed him, but I was penalized because of the rules. The rules have evolved. It was a harder shell. First strike's harder. They don't always break. So that's not the fault of the player. So if paintball has evolved, why haven't the rules evolved with it? Not every paintball is going to break, which means you have to get up close. So then you're eliminating things like snipers. Now, of course, I'm exaggerating here because sometimes you will hit the shot and it will break, but it's always been the case, that you could get in a position, completely outplay them.
Yeah.
But you get penalized not because of your skill, but because of the technology, because of the rule changes. So I never understood that. I tried to promote that idea to the Americans. Hell no. No one was interested in that. They were like, no, that's not paintball. It has to break. But when you get paintball companies making attire to get bounces. So now you've got bounce vests, bounce hats, arm pads with the sponge, with all the sponge on and all that sort of stuff. So it's like, why haven't the rules evolved to to accommodate for that. Now, you could argue, well, it becomes airsoft at that point. Yeah, but I still think that there are realism aspects of airsoft and paintball that they don't share. So, for example, I like the realism aspect in airsoft is that the trajectory is a lot straighter. But I also like that they don't have the limited ammo. But I like the realism in paintball that you have in a sniper rifle, you have 5 to 8 rounds. In the DMR, you have 30 rounds. So you've got to think more, right?
Yeah.
So I like that aspect of it. But when you're up against someone who's working a bounce vest, you see the videos all the time, people wearing these bounce vests and people are just going full auto and they're all just bouncing off and they're promoting it. So yeah, you can stay in the game longer like this. You can stay in longer, so you use more paint, which means you have to buy more paintballs, which means you're spending more money.
Yeah.
So that kind of completely bypasses the point of Magfed. Isn't the point of Magfed is that it's supposed to be more real? If that's the case, then why haven't the rules evolved with that? Or they haven't. Now, you could argue that in Europe, the reason it's growing massively in Europe, they're putting on games at the minute. I don't know about the walk-on scene in Europe. Someone in the comments might be able to school me on that. But like they're about to rock a 1,300 pound Magfed, 300 player Magfed, 1,300 players Magfed only. So it's like they must be doing something right.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That is just I've thought about that for a long time. The fact that again, someone's like hit is a hit. Whether it breaks or not is irrelevant. You've outplayed them. You shouldn't be penalized by the technology or the rules not updating towards it. That's just my opinion on it. It's
I agree with that.
Some people might like it, others won't. But that's that. I do think that. I do think that it's a better. It plays better. It plays better.
Okay,
you hit that shot at 100 meters. It's not always going to break, but should you be penalized for that?
Yeah, that's pretty good. I want to also put this in there as well. 2 years ago, I had my own squad. Well, I'm not saying this year I have my own squad, but 2 years ago, I had my first actual MagFed team. And I remember that one of the rules that they put in there was if you get shot in your gun, you have to change the magazine. So take the old one out that was in there.
I like that. I like that. That's good.
Now, we was doing that correctly. And I remember I got shot in my gun, which is in real life, if you get shot in your gun is jammed. It's fucked up. It's no longer working. Yep. And so for paintball, we can get shot in the magazine or in the gun, take a magazine out, put a new one in there. Now that you had set that to my attention, that when someone gets shot and doesn't break, basically you outplayed them, which is true. I mean, there have been times where I got shot and it didn't break. And to be honest, I should have been out. I mean, hey, he got me.
But now you got the advantage right. Now you know where it's come from. He's snuck around your whole team. He's done whatever he needs to do.
The problem right there is that when you know where the shot came from and it didn't break, now you have the advantage to keep going and guys keep going. I feel like that's cheating. Just being real with you. Only because
it's not cheating. Because it isn't cheating. It's not cheating, but it's bending the rules to your advantage. Now, if you're a sniper and you've got limited rounds, right? You've managed to get into position. You're a ghillie suit, and again, you're in a dominant position. No one knows you're there. You've outplayed the other team.
Yeah.
You pop a shot and it bounces, right? You're fucked because now all of a sudden the whole team goes, "There's someone behind us. Your position is compromised."
Yeah.
And when they whip up 4 or 5 EMFs and start spraying everywhere, you got no chance. That is really frustrating because there's nothing you can do about that. That is just the way it is. And I dislike that. I dislike the aspect of it. I like the fact that if you get shot in the gun, you have to change mag because it's a little bit of you're being penalized. You have to be penalized for being shot or outplayed, right?
Yeah.
But I see, especially in the States and stuff, I see players that use that bounce as an advantage, right? So it's kind of like that for me
what do
takes the
you call
realism
that?
aspect out of it.
Yeah,
When they're wearing those baggy jerseys and stuff and bounce vests and bounce hat and stuff, and they're using it to get up as far as they can, knowing that there's a higher probability they're going to get a bounce and get a dominant position.
yeah,
And okay, and they use that as a tactic, which is fine. It's not illegal. But if Magfed is supposed to be realism, then that's not the way it's supposed to be.
yeah.
But again,
I
that is
agree.
just my opinion on
I agree
how
with
the
that.
rules should be. But I mean, I've been pushing that for like 5-6 years now, and it never took in the States. I would have got, nah, it needs to break. Paintball is paintball. It'll never change. It's like, well, fair enough. Okay.
I think it just depends on where you go at. I know the fields where I'm at in New Jersey, the players have the choice to always let rules be played out. Like, for example, when I go to a paintball field, I always let the ref know, why don't you guys try this? Why don't you try this? Try this, try this. So for example, recently I remember asking well I want to say last year, I asked one of the guys at the field, one of the run at the field, I said, why don't you guys try this for example? Why don't if you get shot, because you got players that get shot, but they don't call their hits. If a player doesn't call their hit, why don't you guys try to look more into it? Because you got people that shoot all day long. Guys that shoot snipers, guys that shoot, for example, EMF, T-15s, like some guys got some good hits, right? And so you get shot with a first strike, now 9 out of 10, it's going to break or not going to break. Sometimes it depends how close you are.
Yeah.
And I feel like we need to start having more rules out there. We need to start having more rules out there because
I love the mag change idea. That's a fantastic idea. I think it's great.
Yeah.
Now we have something similar.
Yeah.
But it's not always applicable. If you get shot in the gun, you have to go to a sidearm. But not everybody has a sidearm. I know I don't. Well, I do, but I never take it out because I'm just lazy. But I love the idea of having to change a mag. It's just you hit someone in the gun, you have to change your mag. That's just the way it is. It's a little bit of an inconvenience that gives the other player that slight little bit of advantage. It is the case of if you got shot in. I mean, again,
Ash,
I don't shoot real, Steve.
Someone got a question for you, just real quick.
Go.
Makers of Mayhem. He said, Ash, how do you feel about gun hits when remove the mag and perform a gun main function, then back in the game?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Yeah, it's. I think it's a great idea. I think all Magfed games should do that. I think it's a great little addition to. You can't. I'm not a real still shooter. I'm not in the military. I don't do any of that stuff. But I'm pretty sure if you got shot in the gun, it's not going to tank it and go, fuck it still works.
Nah.
Maybe. I don't know.
Nah.
I probably would say it probably isn't like that. So just having that being penalized for, be it very, very small, it's just a nice little addition that you don't want to be shot in the gun because the problem is, so sites used to do this all the time. And in the UK, where they said headshots don't count.
But what?
Yeah. Right.
But
what players were doing, headshots and gunshots didn't count. Yeah. Now, the reason why they did this is because they wanted players to shoot paint.
Yeah.
But they also wanted players to present themselves. So what they would do is that they would sit their gun on top of the barricade with their head and just shoot. Right.
Yeah.
And of course, you can do that. And people were getting shot and they were shooting more paint, but it didn't count. And people would use that as an advantage to sit there with their head like this, looking about where everyone's going. You didn't get penalized for it. There's no, no counter for it.
Yeah.
So it's like, it was not really something that I enjoyed really. But I mean, sites did that because they wanted players to shoot more paint so they would buy more paint.
Yeah.
Right. The more paint that they build, the more money they got. So it's a bit of a ploy just to get people to buy more paint. But those little things, if the rules get tweaked a little more, I do think that it would be a lot better. Another thing that Airsoft has, the paintball doesn't, and I've been trying to push this, varied feet per second. Why should an FSC with a Nemesis barrel shoot exactly the same as the SAR 12? Why? How is that in any shape or form realistic? Why are snipers not shooting 300 feet per second and pistols shooting 250? Why is assault rifles, M4s, EMS, why are they not shooting 270 and bolt action shooting 300 first strikes? Why is that? Wouldn't that make a better game? So when you hear that first strike going overhead, you know it's a sniper. That, to me, that's just standard. That's standard. Why are we not doing that? Because if we're comparing paintball to airsoft, the reasons why airsoft is so goddamn popular, you got to analyze what they do. They have varied feet per second. They have heavy machine guns. They have designated snipers. They have all this stuff. People abide by the rules. You always get cheaters. Doesn't matter what sport, right? But it's booming. And then it's not in paintball. Because players with pistols, they don't want to have the disadvantage. They want to shoot 300, or I guess it's 270 in the States. We allow bolt actions to shoot in the UK. Bolt actions shoot 300 first strike. We also limit first strike to bolt actions. Yeah, because that way they're snipers. If you want to outplay a sniper, you've got to use your advantages, which is more firepower. Use your EMF with your paint. And use speed. They can't bolt that marker fast. You know, they've only got 5-6 rounds in there. You've got to use your advantages. Or you can just put first strike in an EMF, and basically you can kind of brand the turn. Everybody comes a sniper, because that's what it is. You put first strike in every single marker at exactly the same feet per second. Everybody's a sniper. It doesn't matter whether you shoot a pistol, an EMF, a SAR-12. It doesn't matter anymore, because everyone can shoot the same distance. It doesn't make any sense to me. So I like that aspect of airsoft, that if someone's got a sniper rifle, I can't beat them. I can't be sitting there like this. I've got to outplay him. I've got to utilize my skills, or I've got to utilize the guy who's got the bolt action sniper behind me. Guy, we've got a sniper here. We need your help. Instead of me pulling out a pistol and outplaying a sniper, it seems wrong to me. So those rules that need updating, man. They're just old now.
See, I agree with everything you said. And I have no problem with evolving that. But the question is, or not the question, more so of the issue is, you have people that don't follow the rules. I'm just being real. So if a sniper, let's say that Magfed decides to say, you know what, we agree with snipers shooting at 300, right?
Mm-hmm.
If you allow a sniper to do that, not saying they won't do that, they will do that. But let's say some other guy, it's a random guy that has an MG100 with a box rotor, and decides, oh yeah, I'm shooting at 300 too.
Yeah.
You know, they're gonna look at that, and they're gonna say to us, this is the reason why we don't allow people to shoot 300. That's why. Or, for example, I heard last weekend that someone messed up for a lot of Magfed players over here where I'm at, because they're not allowing no more first strikes on walk-on days. Only for
I heard this.
Someone actually shot rubber first strikes. Now, my only thing is, you're messing it up not only because of the community, but you're shooting lethal on the field.
That's
the problem right there. And now you see why people and owners at the field, you see why now they're saying, you know what, we're not allowing it. So it's hard to make that happen, honestly. I feel like
that's really interesting.
Sorry,
I don't want to say anything too controversial here, but I do think that is a very knee-jerk reaction.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So what? Someone shot a plastic first strike in a game, right? So now they're banning first strikes.
Yeah.
Okay. What's to say someone doesn't put plastic paintball? A hard plastic paintball.
Yeah.
Well, you can't. So it's like you can't stop stupid from being stupid. I think banning first strike because someone stuck a first strike shaped projectile that was plastic in their gun and fired it at someone, that's ridiculous.
I feel like they needed a reason, though. Honestly,
that's what it was. There's something else there, because they wanted a reason to ban it.
Yeah.
And I think it is. I think it's because there's no profit margin in first strike. Sadly,
no.
So they don't want it. They want people shooting paint. It's politics, man. It's fucking politics.
Yeah.
Because sites get their money from paint. I understand it.
Yeah.
But the problem is that sites don't get no money from Magfed because there's not enough players, and the players that do go are not buying enough paint. They want speedballers rocking up and buying 2 cases of paint. They don't want a Magfed rocking up and buying a bag. They just don't. They don't get no money from it. That's why airsoft has now become standard in the UK, pretty much, because there's more money in it. So it's difficult. So there's definitely something else there. You cannot ban first strike just because some moron decided to put a plastic first strike into their gun and fire it at someone. And who says it was that day anyway? What did they just imagine? Did it have a date on it? This was shot at 3:14 p.m. On this day. That could have been shot like weeks ago. Someone could be testing their gun. They found it in the mud. You know what I mean? It's just like, it's just a knee-jerk reaction. Maybe there's something else going on. They're obviously just, I don't know. It sounds a bit knee-jerk to me, but you can't stop stupid from being stupid. So I don't know. I've always thought that it gets a bit of a bad rap sometimes. I've seen stupid fucking videos of people doing stupid stuff with them and then going, "Yeah, you see, they're dangerous." Oh yeah, I know, but you could kill someone with a spoon if you really wanted to. Let's ban spoons. It's just like,
It's just like the movie Suicide Squad. My guy, what's the guy name, man? Peace and the other one.
Deadshot.
No, not Deadshot. Idris Elba. I can't pronounce this guy's name. Why? Yeah, he got some crazy names out here. But the guy that played Sportsmaster, I believe his name.
Or something. I can't remember. Yeah, I can't remember. It's been a while.
Bloodsport.
Yeah.
I remember he was saying he could kill anyone with anything. Pencil, whatever. But no, I feel like in the MagFed community that I do feel like they are planning to try to ban first strikes one day, and I pray that don't happen because
it's really funny. Needed. I remember I say this to smile, but I don't mean to. I remember when they went through that stage. It must have been like 6 years ago where they actually banned first strike because it was a grey area. Because technically insurance companies were insured for spherical objects, whereas a first strike wasn't. And also there was tests done for the term frangible. For the insurance, the round has to be proven frangible, whereas paintballs were, but first strike wasn't. Now this happened in the UK. It got banned in the UK first, and then in Europe. And I remember the Americans laughing their ass off. And they were posting up pictures of the American eagle going, "Sorry, we can't hear you of the sound of the smell of our own freedom and stuff because you guys could use first strikes." And the irony of it is that now you guys are having first strike banned and we can shoot 300. In Czech Republic, they rock 350 first strike, sometimes even 380.
Wow.
In Poland, some people don't even use lower masks. They just use the goggles. That's it.
That's
and
crazy.
People are rocking 300 first strikes, So, hey, come over to Europe, Americans. We got you. I can't hear you over the sound of our freedom over here in Europe, I don't mean to bag on you, though. But going on about these different rules and regulations and stuff. Yeah, personally, I think if you want to grow it, you need to look at the things that are very, very popular, that are similar, things like airsoft, and go, what are they doing? What are they doing that Magfed is not? And I think it's quite obvious. There's so many differences between the two, even though they're both sports that involve military-style guns, shooting things. The rules are the same. When you get hit, you have to go out. But why is one growing and one isn't? I remember, just as an example, linking into the rule changes and also to my previous comment about faking videos. I did a video at PRZ. Have you ever been PRZ?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's a great site. Amazing site. Only been once. Now, this was just after they unbanned first strike, right? And so they were very, very cautious. I rocked up with my rifle. I was feeling good. And they were like, yeah. Rules for first strike is that you have to shoot 260. Right? and they were so hot on it. They were like, if you get caught over 260, you're banned. So I'm chrono at like 250. Now, I don't know about anybody else. Have you ever tried to shoot first strike at 250? Mate, like the first strikes are dancing so much as they go. Literally, you can run faster than them. It sucks. My hammer likes 300. It likes fast. I want to spool that round up. I want to hit it straight between the eyes. I probably hit maybe, let me think now. It's a long time ago, but I remember the comment that I made. I could probably comfortably say that I didn't get any actual eliminations at that game. Now, my video shows differently. I put hit markers and all that shit. I just cut the video. As soon as I got the hit, I put the hit marker on, I cut the video. Maybe the odd few actually went out. I didn't hit shit, mate, because they were hitting, but they were bouncing. All of them were bouncing. I remember leaving that game thinking, fuck, man. I was checking all my footage and thinking, fuck, I didn't fucking get hardly any eliminations at all. Unless you get a gog shot and it actually hits a hard part of the gear and you get that break. Every single one, I'm just sitting there bolting, right? 30p, 30p, and you're hitting and it's frustrating. It's like, because they're not going out, you're hitting them. They have no clue you're there. You've got your accuracy in. But because of the rules, I couldn't get any eliminations. And of course, I couldn't put video out where I did absolutely nothing. I put hit markers all day long, mate. Just, I got him out. Yeah. But you didn't fire. Yeah, I did. Yeah, I just cut it. It's just, not about that anymore. And do you know what? It's one of the reasons why I can't do that whole YouTube thing. I saw a comment from Nightmare saying, when am I coming back? Nah, man. That part of me, that part of my life is done for good. Again, I don't even have to play anymore. So it's I'm looking to make a change, but I think after playing for like almost 17 years, it's there's not a lot that I haven't done. And I think that's why I turned a little bit more to airsoft, just to see if it was any different. It's like, I went from Titman 98s. I joined a speedball team. I did tournaments. I went to training sessions where they trained you how to cheat in tournament. That was it. That was the whole day. Right, guys, we need to train you now how to hide your shots when you get hit on a tournament field. All this sort of stuff. You're not playing the players on a tournament field. You're playing the refs, because you've got to try and get out of them seeing you. When you get hit, don't flinch. All that sort of stuff. When you put your palm up, you get shot in the front, you close your palm. All this sort of stuff. It was nuts. So I've done that. I've done the massive games of 1,000, 2,000 people. I've done the small games. I've done sniper competitions. I've done all that. And I'm under no illusion that I think I'm like, the top of my game. There are some marksmen out there in paintball that are incredible. And they definitely probably could do more than me. Where I excelled is that I was able to capture it and package it up for people to be able to enjoy. Whereas that was the part that not a lot of people at that particular time when I started doing those snipers, a lot of people didn't do that, or they didn't do it, or they did, but maybe not good enough. Or I don't know. I don't really understand why people followed me, if I'm honest, but I see people all the time that was doing content far better than me, but it never stuck. But for some reason mine did. But it's I don't know. That's just the way I imagined it. But yeah, there you go.
I mean, honestly, Ash, but you gotta look at it. You are an inspiration to thousands, millions of people.
I don't know about millions. But
come on.
Do you know what? I'm never going to say. Okay, I'll retract that statement that I'll never ever go back. The channel is always there.
You gotta understand that you left a blueprint on paintball itself. Forget the Magfed, forget speedball. You left a blueprint on paintball, so you can't just say, man, I think I'm done. I think I'm not going back." You think about it. All right, think about it. Just think about it for a second. With paintball, right? He said this in my podcast in January. He said that he's been in this sport for over 27 years, going on 30 years. Next year, it'll be 30 years for him. He said, man, he has been through everything. He said a point.
Who's this? This Wolf, right?
Wolf, right. He said a
Yeah.
point in his life that affected him was
Yeah.
family, mentality. He said, man, he almost lost it all. So
Yeah.
can you imagine going through that and thinking past it, and then seeing that, man, I was meant to be in paintball for a reason, And I feel like your mental is the biggest thing in today's world because you have people that kill themselves. I'm just gonna be real. They
Yeah.
kill themselves because of the mental, right? And so for me, I have only been in this for 5 years, but I have been to some of the worst things before then. But it's always about finding your purpose. And I found my purpose in paintball. I'm just gonna be real with you. I feel like paintball, man, is probably the greatest thing you can ever do, you can ever live in, because you see the mentality, you see the character in you, you see how you build people's lives. Like, people look at me as if I'm a prophet, and that's kind of the reason why my name is called Prophet Wolf,
Mm.
because they see me as a person with vision. They see me as a person that thinks positive. They see me as a person that has all the right tools to help other people around them build theirs up. Like, I always been a team player. My first name was actually the Predator. Second name was Lone Wolf. But the third name was probably my biggest name, which is the Prophet Wolf, because people seen something in me that I didn't see in myself. And so basically what I'm trying to say to you is, there's something in you that I see in you that you haven't even got potential in yourself. It's there, but you have to see it for yourself. You get what I'm saying, Ash? Only because you are one of the biggest icons, one of the great big icons in this sport. Come on, man. I can't let you go out like that. I
No, no,
can't.
no. So,
I
okay.
can't,
So,
man.
first, I'll retract my statement that I'll never ever do it again. Never say never. You never know. It's always there. But can I
Yeah,
ask? I'll ask you a question. Do you have a favorite food?
I do.
Yeah. Do you eat it every day?
Every couple of days, every other week.
And then you have a break, but it's always there, and you
Yeah,
come back, right?
yeah.
Do you think if you ate a certain food every single day, could be your favorite food, if you listen to the same song over and over and over again every single day nonstop, do you think
You get tired
eventually
after a while.
you
Yeah,
get tired, right? And
yeah.
you're like, you know what? I think I'm going to try a different jam,
But it's
right?
still there.
But it's still there.
Yeah,
Yeah. So that's kind of how I felt, right? I was just like, I was pushing, I was pushing. I have one of my traits. It's one of my biggest strengths and one of my worst weaknesses, and that is the chase for perfection, right? Because I know it doesn't exist, but I try and get that perfection, right? So, and that's what led to eventually, I would say, the demise of it, because I like to think, without, again, I don't want to be too egotistical or anything like that, but I like to think that I raised the bar, right? Because I saw that the content that was out there, and I wanted to do better. Yeah. And I came up with an idea or a concept that I hadn't seen before, and I wanted to try and package it up and present it to people. And I think I did that. But what the problem is that I raised the bar, which is fine, but I also raised it for myself. So now every time I went out, unless I was raising that bar every single time, it was a disaster.
yeah,
So, and that's you can't run it like that. It doesn't matter how positive you are or whatever like this, because if you eventually you're going to do a video that isn't going to be as good, you're going to have a game that you don't do as good, right? So you're going out in the field, and that's where that split comes. I watched the podcast with you and Nightmare, and the comment he says that the people ask him if he's a paintballer or a YouTuber, and he says back in 2016 he was a paintballer, but now he's a YouTuber. I've never been a YouTuber. I've always been a paintballer, and that was my problem, because I couldn't do it. I couldn't maintain that. You know, it was horrible. Going to a game, I'm not even thinking about the game anymore. I didn't like that.
Yeah.
And it made me depressed. I was like, I couldn't be a YouTuber. I just couldn't. It almost forces you to do it because you have to. But if you go against the grain and you can't do it, and I didn't like that aspect of it, is going to a game. I'm not going there for the game anymore. I'm going there for my cameras. And then you got this card to delete and format the battery. Oh, change the battery on the gun. Oh, change the battery on your scope gun. Oh, I forgot to put the card in. Oh shit! I'm not even thinking about the game anymore. I don't even know why I'm there. I'm there for my YouTube, and I never wanted that, and I couldn't do it. I did, and it was a problem. I
Mm.
didn't like that side of things. What am I playing? What am I playing? It's like, am I playing the game because I like it, or am I playing the game because I need to get views and content? And that was a conflict that every, I think every paintball airsoft YouTuber will go down. You know, yeah, exactly. I just saw a comment from Nightmare that says, as soon as a good game doesn't get recorded, it's no longer a good game. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. If I was going to a game and if I forgot my cameras, I'm probably packing up and going home. And then I'm pissed off because now I don't have a video, but I need to record a video because I haven't released a video on my channel for 3 weeks, which means it's going to be another 3 weeks before I release one. And YouTube don't like that. YouTube wants quantity. I didn't have quantity. I couldn't have quantity. So yeah.
Hey Ash, real quick. I have a question. Well, really, most of a quote for you.
Yeah.
This is a quote that I wrote down a few months ago. It says here, "Do I love you, or do I love the version that suits me?" Unconditional love, the benefit that suits you. And the reason why I'm saying this too is because, you know, you say you did a lot of videos just for YouTube, not for paintball, and you feel as though YouTube was more important than the game, than paintball, correct?
Yeah.
And
Yep.
so when I read this quote to you, it's basically what I'm trying to say to you is, did you love paintball, or do you love the version of this paintball that suits you?
Or do I love the
Or
version of paintball that I was creating in the
yeah,
videos?
yeah,
Because it's too
yeah,
different, right?
yeah, it's a
It's too
different
different.
thing.
Like I
Yeah,
said,
yeah,
don't get me wrong. There's every person has to add a little bit of spice to videos, but 100% you're right.
mm,
And I don't think as well, and maybe this will be controversial as well, it wasn't just the game, it was the people. Because when I was looking around, now you have a name Wolf, right? I never had a team. I never rocked with a team. I've never had a team. I was
yeah,
on my own. I went to the games alone. I played alone. I was in the bushes alone. I'd snipe alone. I never had a team. So I was looking around at all these people around, and I was like, I couldn't help but thinking at the time that there was only a select few that I enjoyed spending the time with. But in
yeah,
my videos, it shows that everything's happening. And again, I used to always cut out if someone didn't take a hit, 90%. I let a few of them go, but 90% I would cut it out. I would cut the video back to another camera and then get rid of that footage and stuff. So I got the hit, but I didn't show the part where they didn't take it or whatever. I did occasionally show it very, very briefly sometimes, but so yeah, I mean that's a very interesting statement that is. And yeah, did I like paintball, or do I like the version that I created? Maybe I think I did enjoy paintball. I think there's an element of I just got completely burnt out with just playing for so long, and also the YouTube side of things tainted it for me because I wasn't playing to play anymore. I was playing for views,
yeah.
and that's a just a landslide of that you just don't want to go down because
That's deep
it
too, man.
doesn't stop. It doesn't stop.
That's
It
deep.
doesn't stop. You go on holiday, it'll cost you. If you have a break, it'll cost you. So now, again, I wasn't playing for like 2, 3 weeks. I'm already stressed. I'm already stressed because I
Yeah,
know when I go out there, not only is all my equipment got to work flawlessly,
yeah,
I've got to get them kills. It doesn't always happen. It doesn't always happen. It can take, you can have a whole day, and for the first 2, 3 hours, you get nothing. And then all of a sudden, you get into that one position, you get them kills, right? But it doesn't always happen like that. So I could be leaving and go, oh, fucking hell, I did shit today. Maybe
yeah,
you injured yourself. You can't run as quick. Maybe you have some bad food, not feeling good. Maybe you're just eyes nodding. Sometimes some of the shots I look back at, sometimes similar shots, I'm thinking, Jesus Christ, how the hell did I hit that? And then other times I'm sitting there, I'm bolting, I'm shooting the guy, and I just can't hit him for nothing. So it's like it happens. But when you're becoming a YouTuber like that, that'll cost you. You don't have time to be shit. You've got to be good, or you've got to have some sort of angle that allows you to play that sort of game and still be entertaining. And sadly, it's either you go down the funny route or you go down the drama and the controversial route. And I couldn't do either of those. So that's why it took me a long time, probably maybe 3-4 years, to be able to say that I could let go of my YouTube. And even now it's like a knife in the heart, but I'm a lot better with it now. And, you know, I can go to games and I don't mind that I don't have my cameras, you know, but I guess I say cameras. I haven't quite let it go yet, because if I do go out and snipe, I will always rock a scope cam, which is kind of, I guess, testament to say that I haven't quite let it go yet. But they're more for me, so I don't really post. I very rarely post those up. I keep them for me, and I get the satisfaction of seeing the guy's head get snapped back when I smash him in the face with the first strike, and then maybe occasionally. I think that last time that happened, I actually posted. I hit the guy in the forehead and made him bleed, and I posted it up. And Jesus Christ, I got absolutely destroyed. I got absolutely destroyed for it. But I just want to make it clear, and I will actually do a live stream at one point showing this, because people think that paintball is like super accurate, and it's not. I aimed in a general direction. Some people do all the calculations and stuff. So I'm aiming at the target right there. I'm gauging in my head roughly how this distance. I'm countering that with some elevation, and I'm firing my scope. My scope crosshairs is not even at the target, because it's like an inch, 2 inches above it, which is a long way in a scope, right? So a lot of the times I haven't even got the person in my scope anymore. So I'm firing, and Nakaya just happens to find his forehead, and you know, and of course I play on that. I'm like, yeah, you know, I meant to do that and stuff, but yeah, I got absolutely roasted for that. But hey, it is what it is.
Man, it's
A hit is a hit, right?
you said a lot of stuff, man. It's just getting over my head, going in my head now. You know what? And I just want to get a few points off. I was always alone. I was always a loner. You know, still am a loner. You know, off the field, but on the field, you know, I had to stop that, because I do feel what you feel, honestly, and it's real, man. It's definitely real. And even Nightmare said it himself. You seem like you're in a better place mentally now, to be honest, and that's true. You know, because you never know what someone's going through. You never know what someone is experiencing. You
That's
never know.
exactly right. Yeah.
You never know what's happening deep down inside of them, and that's the biggest thing. Like on the outside, you're smiling, you're happy, you know, in front of people, but on the inside, you're broken, you're sad. You don't have the mentality like how you want to happen.
Yeah.
And I know for me, before I even, you know, have a team now, you know, I was once that loner. You know, I went by lone wolf because I feel like being a lone wolf, man, you can only depend on yourself. You can only rely on yourself. You can only do things yourself. And that was my biggest thing for a very long time, until I had to realize that, man, people need me. No matter what I do and how I look at it, it's not even about me. It's about them. And that's part of the reason why I always like to put this in my podcast in the way I can, because people, and I'm gonna say God always, you know, sends his strongest. Like there's a quote in the Bible: God gives his strongest soldiers the hardest battles. And so for me, when God sends me on this earth, he's giving me the battles to face, but he's giving me the mentality to show other people that, man, if I could do it, y'all could do it.
Yeah.
You know, and that's something that I live by every single day, is that, man, whoever you come across, you always encourage them as much as possible, no matter how big they are, no matter how smart they are, no matter who they are. You have to encourage them because you never know what they're going through. And I feel
Yeah,
like
yeah.
for me and you coming together, it's for a reason. It's for a purpose, you know. And it's bigger than paintball. I've always said this. It's bigger than paintball, bro. It's bigger than paintball. It's always more about the mentality, about the character, and it's also about people. So man, this was definitely deep for me.
Yeah, I mean, again, with the YouTube stuff, and again, it's, you know, I'm gonna say you might be slightly envious and stuff. You know, you've got to be in a certain type of place if you want to continue with that kind of social media journey, especially in paintball.
Yeah,
Um, I can say that I am not in that place to be able to do that. I'm just not, because I'm not willing now to be able to. I'm not able. I have so many other things. I'm not able to commit to it. I don't always play. I don't always go to the games. I can't always go to the games, you know, etc., etc. So I know that I cannot commit, but because I chase that level of perfection, it's also very, very difficult for me to. I mean, I saw a comment earlier that someone posted up saying that they don't put out videos for recognition, and I've always kind of disagreed with people that said that, because if they everyone that posts things on social media is looking for some kind of recognition. Yeah, there might be some humbleness in there where people want to show it, you know, for other people, but I still think there's an element of people they want to grow themselves, because if no one was watching your shit, right?
yeah,
What's the point in posting up? If you spend 2 weeks on a video, you post it up and no one watches it, are you going to do the same the week after, still zero, 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 zero? Eventually, you'll be like, well, what's the point? See,
yeah.
so
That's true.
the people viewing is not vanity, you know, or wanting the people to view is not vanity. It's motivation. The
Yeah,
more people you reach, the more motivated you are. Actually, fucking hell, yeah, I've reached 10,000 people. That's amazing. And yeah, okay, it might be, you know, a little bit. I don't know what the word is, but, you know, wanting to have feedback, a positive feedback and stuff. But people that aren't YouTubers never understand how motivating it is for a content creator to receive that. And the more they receive it, the more they want to do stuff. But if they receive no feedback and no views, you've got to be a certain type of person to be able to consider. Imagine going to the gym non-stop and getting no results.
mm,
Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
It's
That's
just
real.
eventually you're going to be like, wow, well, what's the point? You know, so it's that kind of mentality that I know that I wouldn't be able to commit to what's needed. It would just leave me in disappointment. So why would I want to put myself through that? I'd rather concentrate on other things, which is going to allow me to grow, rather than concentrating on something. And I know it's not that I'm letting it go, but I'm being at peace with it. And that is harder. It's easy to say than it is. And I'm not at peace with it now, but I can do. I'm more mentally able to deal with that. Would I love to have my YouTube channel like I see other people that, you know, 500,000 subs, doing it full time, loving life, flying around the world? Oh yeah, of course I would. Why? Who wouldn't want that? You know, who
Yeah,
wouldn't want that? It's not. There's nothing vain about that. You know, people think that it's easy to do, and you just want to get paid for it. Dude, like if you actually put like these full-time content creators, if you actually like dissect it down to a pence per hour or a dollar per hour, you're not getting much, you know. So
yeah,
it's like it's hard work. It's really hard work. So, but I mean, I would love to do it, but I have other things now which is taking my focus. You know, my businesses, relationships, family, and all that sort of stuff. All the things that to do my YouTube I sacrificed. So that's what I learned from it. Is that okay? So I know what I have to sacrifice now to try, and even then, there's no guarantee that it'll be successful. But that's not something that I'm willing to do anymore. So I'm still there, but would I be able to commit to doing something like that? Nah, nah, not right now, at least.
yeah.
Hey, if I win the lottery, if someone wants to give me like $1 million, then hey, you'll see me with bloody 5 or 6 cameras. I'll wear a camera on each shoulder for them. I'll be posting up content every week. Yeah, I'll put my PayPal in the comments, and you guys. That was another thing. I never did Patreon.
Yeah.
Never did Patreon. Never did any of that. I couldn't. I couldn't. I was a bit nah. I nothing against people that wanted to do that, but I never did that. I was like, nah, I'm not doing that. I can do it just from YouTube alone. Nah, nah, didn't work like that.
Yeah.
Didn't work like that at all.
Yeah.
But yeah, it is what it is. But maybe one day. I still have all my stuff.
Yeah.
I sold a lot of it, but I still have my stuff. If I ever wanted to get back into it properly, I would jump straight in. And it is like riding a bike. As soon as I get that first headshot, it's like, there we go. I know where I'm going now.
Yeah.
And it has happened a few times, but yeah, we'll see. Maybe you'll see me in America soon, and I still want to go to some of the games and stuff, and we'll see how we go. But you guys need to come over to Europe and experience how it is in Europe, because it's a totally different ball game. You can't make that run just thinking you can use those bounces to get a better barricade. Nah, mate. Nah.
Well, all right, Ash. I have one more question for you, man.
Go
Just
for
one more question for you. More so a quote, but I just want to hear your opinion on this one.
Go on then.
So the man that views the world at 40, same way he views the world at 20, has wasted 20 years of his life. How do you feel about that quote, and what goes through your mind when hearing that?
Can you say that quote again?
Sure can. The man that views the world at 40, same way he views the world at 20, has wasted 20 years of his life. Do you feel like that? Do you feel like that applies to you?
Yes and no. So one, you could argue if that's the case, then you're not growing. But two, at the same time, it's like, if you don't use it, you'll lose it. I want to be young thinking and fresh minded and constantly coming up with ideas and being motivated to do that stuff. And you are a lot more motivated to do that sort of stuff. I guess trying stuff without limitations. Yeah. And I do tend to think that is more of a young person's kind of mind. They think, you know what, fuck it, let's just do it. Whereas the older person will probably go, well, no. I guess it's about being like optimistic or pessimistic. So I do find that the younger you are, the more you're willing to just try something because you can. Whereas the more older person tends to be like, well, maybe not because of this, or maybe not because of that.
Yeah.
For example, you can look at like injuries, for example. There's loads of things I see all the time. Let's take snowboarding. I love adrenaline. I would love to go snowboarding. Now, if I was younger and had a young person's mind, I'd be like, fuck it, let's just go and do it. Whereas now I'm like, well, hold on. Lots of injuries in snowboarding. I don't want to fuck myself up for when I'm 50 or 60. So then I won't take that opportunity to do it because I'm more worried. I tend to think a little more. So I think the older you get, maybe the wiser you get, but I do think you have to control it because you tend to overthink, which is, I guess it's a good and bad thing. I think you have to. I think you have to have both, and have the wisdom to know when is right to be able to just YOLO it and then go, actually, maybe not. I don't know. Maybe I'm overthinking that, but
Yeah.
There you go. That's my thoughts on that.
Wow, man. This was a great podcast. This was
There you
definitely
go.
a great
I told
podcast.
you, man. I told you when you dropped me a message like, nah, let's crack open some controversial subjects and really go on it,
Yeah, I definitely agree with that, man. And you know what? I think it should be definitely a part two. Definitely a part two.
Yeah,
man.
drop me a message, man. I'm always I'm always around.
Yeah. Man, I definitely enjoy you, Ash, on my podcast, man. You are one of the, like I said, one of the biggest icon and inspiration in the Magfed community, paintball community, and speedball community, man. Definitely a great podcast. And before I let you go,
it's so difficult for me to hear that type of stuff. It really is. I'm not good with that sort of stuff. People tell me all the time, you should embrace those women. People tell me that. I'm like, nah.
We should, bro. We should, man. Because you know what? I'm getting used to it myself. I wasn't a fan of that either. But you know what? A lot of things happened in my life that kind of made me look at that differently. And you know what? one of the things was me losing my father. That's what really kind of got me to the point where, you know what, I should start accepting what people say because it's positive. It's great things. It's great feedback. You
Sure,
know
for
what?
sure.
And it makes you live longer and grow in your mindset. So it can be rough in the beginning, but you know what? It's worth it. And that's part of the reason why I love paintball so much. But before I let you go, Ash, you know, what are some of the things that, you know, you can encourage someone right now who's watching this podcast, who are looking forward to meeting you one day, who look up to you and just want to, you know, just want to hear some encouragement, some wisdom, just in the sport itself and you as a person?
um, people who you want me to inspire some young individuals here. What, new to paintball or just in general? Let's go paintball because it's easier, I
Yeah,
think.
yeah.
Don't believe what they tell you. Always aim for the face.
Ooh. Oh, wow.
Hey, okay, and I'll tell you for why real
Okay.
quickly.
Yeah.
Technically, hitting someone in the face is the safest part of the body to hit somebody because it's the safest part of your gear. The goggles is meant for that. That's why you hit him on the skin, it can hurt. You hit him on the goggles, it won't. There you go.
Hey, you guys heard it, man. Take heed to it. You guys heard it. Take heed to it. Don't forget, everyone, to like and subscribe my channel. I will be posting up more content, you know, with my run cam scam too. I'm sorry, scope cam too. So I will be posting some good videos. Not too much, but you know, just something that I did over last Sunday because you know that was my first time back since this year. You know, just getting out on the field, playing with people and stuff like that. So definitely like and subscribe to my channel and looking forward to a part two, man, with my guy Ash, man. Great dude, man. Follow this guy, you know, follow this guy if you haven't already. This guy is dope. And
Thank you very
see
much
you
for
guys
the
next time, man.
opportunity, man.
See you guys next time. Other than that, the Prophet Without.
Take care, guys. Bye bye.